Another frustrating loss for the Broncos, this time a 26-21 loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Hello, and thank you for joining us for the Broncos Postgame Show. I'm Phil Milani alongside Sidney Jones and Eric Dalala. It sounds like we're just on repeat here, but the Broncos, so many opportunities to try and win this game. Eric, let's start with you. Where did you feel like things took a turn for the worse?
I don't know. I mean, that deep to Chase Claypool against Michael Ojemudia, that kind of broke the game open a little bit, and the Broncos really were playing catch-up after that. They just didn't take advantage of opportunities when they needed to, whether it was a chance for an interception in the end zone, if it was having the ball at the 4-yard line and only ending up with a field goal. I mean, those were the sorts of things. You look at a sack on 4th and 2 when you're driving to take the lead late in the game. All those things combined made it so they weren't going to win this game. You don't have that margin for error right now, especially not when Drew Lock goes down in the first half.
Yeah, I was going to say that was sort of the story of the game. Drew Lock going down in the first half. Going to have to find out what the status of his injured shoulder is tomorrow morning. Says he will get an MRI. But Sidney, again, 0-2 start here for the Broncos.
Yeah, Phil, obviously not the outcome Broncos fans wanted, but I really think backup quarterback Jeff Driscoll came in and played well considering the circumstances. You know, he completed 18 of 34 passes for 256 yards, 2 touchdowns, that 1 interception. But Eric mentioned it, you know, I really thought the Broncos were going to pull off the win on that last drive when they moved the ball all the way down to Pittsburgh's 15, you know, trailing by just 5 points. You know, being here at Heinz Field, I could kind of feel the energy change down on the Broncos sidelines. I could hear some of the guys. It seemed like they had hope, but then on that 4th down, you know, Driscoll was sacked, and you know it was kind of over there.
Well, let's show you how this thing unfolded here. The Broncos had injury problems coming into this one. Courtland Sutton was questionable heading in, but he did make his season debut. He had 3 catches for 66 yards, but left this game with a new injury to his knee. He also had some cramping legs, but here's the injury that we were talking about earlier. Drew Lock goes down. Bud Dupree hits him from behind in his arm, just pinned underneath him there, said he was trying to tuck it at the last second, ended up fumbling it too. Officially a right shoulder injury, and he would not return. The Broncos trailed 17-3 at halftime. Things, though, got a little bit better after this play. First turnover of the season, Justin Simmons with a one-handed interception led to a field goal, but momentum swung. After a 4th down stop, Jeff Driscoll finds Noah Fant, 20-yard touchdown with a 2-point conversion. The Broncos trailed just 17-14. They were down 12, though, in the 4th. Melvin Gordon, an over-the-shoulder 16-yard touchdown. What a grab. The Broncos had one last chance here on 4th and 2, but Driscoll, sacked by Terrell Edmonds. The Broncos gave up 19 quarterback hits and 7 sacks. Here's Drew Lock after the game in a sling.
You know, we're going to take it day by day, but I'm optimistic about it. We're going to have it checked out tomorrow morning, and we'll know more then. You know, it felt funny. I'm not going to blow it out of proportion on how funny it felt. It just, you know, I've been throwing a football my whole life, and I wouldn't say it necessarily felt normal right off the bat. So we'll probably do an MRI on it, yes. And yes, since it is my throwing arm, there is a little bit more caution in there. Yeah.
So Drew's going to get an MRI tomorrow. We'll have to find out the extent of that injury. But, Eric, this team is banged up officially now.
Yeah, and losing key guys. You lost Von Miller, you lost A.J. Boye, Phillip Lindsay. Drew Lock might be the biggest of all of them. And depending on how long he's out, that could impact the entire season, obviously. So just got to cross fingers and hope it's not too bad. But he did admit that because it's to his throwing shoulder, you have to be a little bit more cautious. And one thing I did like, Phil, is he said he wasn't going to change his style of play. Maybe he'll decide to throw it away a little bit sooner, but said he's never going to lay down and take a sack, always going to try to make plays for this team. And that's what they need. They just need 1 or 2 more plays here or there. Maybe you get on the right side of these things.
The play he got injured on, very similar to that play that he got injured on in the preseason last year. Outside of the pocket, an awkward landing, and boom, who knows what's going to happen here. But Driscoll did play well. So many little things went wrong for the Broncos. They had the safety on a punt. If they're able to, avoid that, maybe they can kick a field goal down there at the end of the game instead of having to go for 4th and 2. Sydney, where do you think the Broncos go from here? Hopefully maybe some of these guys come back healthy.
Yeah, we can only hope for that. Still a lot of injuries like you guys talked about. But I think going from here, they can only get better. I think they're going to take this week's game, last week's game, and really learn from it and work on the mistakes that they did make.
And with A.J. Boye out, Eric, we really saw Ben Roethlisberger attack Michael Ojemudia. He said that he's got to get better and he will get better.
Yeah, and I feel bad for Ojemudia because it was just a couple of tough plays on the Chase Claypool. It kind of looked like Claypool extended his arm a little bit. I think could have maybe had a flag there. Certainly, if you're going to flag that Tim Patrick play later on, maybe you throw a flag in this case, and then a scramble drill late in the game when Roethlisberger's rolling out. He's in good coverage and just can't quite hold it up long enough. And then, of course, interception early in the game. Should have had his second one now after last week's get back because of a penalty, but he'll learn from it. He'll grow. But that's what you can expect right now. Teams are going to go at him until he can prove that he can stop them.
And it doesn't get any easier for this Broncos defense with Tom Brady coming to town next week. The Broncos have to wait and see and get some updates here on their injured players. But that's the story right now. The Broncos 0-2 for the second season in a row. First time that's happened in franchise history since 1966 as they fall to the Steelers 26-21. That's going to do it for us. For Sidney Jones and Eric Dalala, I'm Phil Milani. This has been the Broncos Postgame Show.